Let's go. Hello, my name is Jean-Michel Duriez. I am a perfumer and I have been creating perfumes for more than 40 years. I've been working for many houses and brands, international groups and small companies and big brands and small brands. Nowadays, I have my own company, which is Atelier JMD by my initials. And I have the pleasure to create perfumes for a lot of brands. And today I'm going to talk about Maison Berliner. I have been collaborating with Maison Berliner for years. I'm happy to present you today the new creation. The first perfumes that I created for Maison Berliner, these ones, Pomme Tonka, Ambre Ananas, and Mûre Iris. And today we are introducing the new perfume, which is this one, Rose Litchi. You know, when I create perfumes for brands, it is very important that I catch the essence, the DNA of the brand itself. So we had a lot of discussions all together with Maison Berliner and really understand how we would create these perfumes, especially for this house. And we came to the point that we want to offer creations in which we have, in a way, modernity being audacious with very interesting accords that are, young, modern, but make all of these on very refined and good structures, which is important as well. So first of all, we have decided that we would use very interesting natural ingredients, and the names are on the bottle. What you see, what you read, in fact, is exactly what you get. So Pomme Tonka is about apples and tonka beans, for instance. And then you have Ambre Ananas, amber and pineapple. And then you have Mûre Iris, so blackberry and the iris, in perfumery, iris, the flower of which we use it, the roots. And today we are introducing Rose Litchi. So it's exactly on the same way of thinking. You have first the audacious modern top notes, and then you have the refined, very natural structure. Here in the new one, Rose Litchi, we have the lychee. The lychee is a fruit that has a strong top note, that has a sort of sparkling effect in the top note, and which is very fresh and very audacious as well. So we had to, really make sure that the start, the blooming of the perfume would be exactly what we want and get along together with the rose in a very nice way. And the rose is a refined, let's say, timeless accord. In the history of perfumes, we have made dozens and dozens of thousand roses. So it's always very, exciting to recreate new accords of roses. For this perfume, I mixed two types of roses. So, in the very, let's say, skeleton, the sculpture of the perfume, the pink rose. En français, on dit les roses roses. So in English, it's the pink roses. Pink roses are very interesting because, they are like a sort of very reliable structure. Classical in a way, timeless, but also soft and velvety. So on that structure, you can really build many things because a rose has many facets. You have the green notes, you have the floral notes, of course, you have the fruity notes, you have a lot of things, aqueous notes as well. And then I added red roses. So red roses, as you can imagine, is more sensual. It's very fruity, dark with marmalade, fruity notes. And when I add that to the pink rose, it really starts to build an accord, which is at the same time very reliable, very familiar. And then with the red roses, it becomes a little more like daring. And then on top of that, if I had the lychees, then we really have something more modern and audacious. So that is, the core, let's say, of the fragrance. That does not make a perfume. If you really want to make a perfume, especially in the spirit, in the style of, Maison Berliner, you can see the bottles, you can see these drawings, you can see all the details, to test the fragrances, etc. You really need to make a real fragrance. So on the top of the lychee, I added a little bit of grapefruit and pear to really build the freshness together with the lychee. And then around all of this, I added a little bit of saffron, a little bit of pink pepper, and a little bit of, figs, dried figs. It goes very well together with the red roses, the figs. And then all of this are more in the top note and the heart note. So then you really need to have, let's say, long-lasting structure. So what we call the base notes or the dry down of the fragrance. So I wanted to add woody notes. Woody notes, most of them blend very well with the roses. And in this particular case, I added a natural ingredient which is called Akigalawood. You know that I collaborate with Givaudan. I am an independent perfumer, but I collaborate. I mean, all my formula are made by Givaudan, and I also use all of their ingredients. So that's why I picked, in the woody notes in Givaudan palette, I picked up the Akigalawood. Akigalawood is a very interesting thing because, it's an upcycled ingredient, and it starts from the patchouli process, patchouli oil process, and we take some byproducts and they make a biofermentation, and that gives a sort of new product, which is very, it's a natural product that they call Akigalawood. And this Akigalawood, it smells a little bit like patchouli, but it's different. It's not as earthy as the patchouli, and it's very woody and very sensual and very, wide odor. So I wanted to add that to this fragrance, Rose Litchi. And also I added a little bit of cypriol. Cypriol is it's a note that we use a lot in the woody structures. And then also I added, I mentioned that we are always with Maison Berliner, we are always audacious. So I wanted to add a little bit of black truffle. Black truffle is very interesting because, it blends so well with all the woody notes. It gives like a sort of darker, richer effect with a little bit of earthy, but in a good way, in a mushroom way. So I thought it was interesting to add it and really give, this sort of density and various notes, variations inside the fragrance. Well, as you know, in perfumery, we have a lot of ingredients. We have an immense palette of ingredients. It can be divided in two parts. A big part, which is the synthetic ingredients, and the lower part, which is all the natural ingredients. But it's, of course, to me, the most important, the natural ingredients. In this perfume, Rose Litchi, of course, I have natural ingredients. And I can mention, for instance, that I have, the cassis of Burgundy in the east of France. And we use the cassis buds. And that gives a very nice green, super strong green note that is going to boost the lychee note. Also, I have an important one in this fragrance particularly, the natural rose. This rose that I use for Rose Litchi is an eau de rose. It's a rose water, and it's an upcycled ingredient that Givaudan is offering to perfumers in the large palette of ingredients. It's the concentration of the odor that remains in the eau de rose, the rose water, after the distillation of the rose petals. So most of the time the rose petals come from Bulgaria or Turkey or Morocco sometimes as well, or Russia sometimes. Recycle or upcycle this rose water and concentrate it to make this rose odor, which is super fresh, super natural. And that, you know, when I mentioned this pink rose, so that is a part of the pink rose accord that I made in this perfume. Also, I have the patchouli from Indonesia and the vetiver as well from Indonesia, which are also two important natural ingredients. And the last one that I use as well, among some others, of course, is the cypriol. So cypriol is a sort of herb that grows in India. So as you can see, the natural ingredients most of the time are not the majority of the formula, but are the most important part of the formula. You can always make a fully synthetic perfume, but people will smell it. So it is important to always keep these natural ingredients in a perfume, especially when you work for like Maison Berliner. So I think we have covered almost everything. The result of this perfume, you know, when I smell it, it starts fresh, it starts fruity, it starts young, it starts modern. And then, you know, in the long-lasting effect, it really goes on something very elegant and refined. And that is definitely, you know, the DNA, the philosophy of Maison Berliner. So I really am happy to present you with this fragrance. I hope you will try it on your skin. It's always good to, you know, discover a fragrance on a blotter like I do. I use my blotter, you know, every day. I use dozens and dozens of blotters every day. But then at the end of the day, you really need to try on skin and see the effect and take time to choose your fragrance. So I hope you will have a lot of pleasure with you and people around you as well with this new perfume, Rose Litchi for Maison Berliner. And I will talk to you later for maybe other discovery of new fragrances.